Well, thank you, Patrick. Good morning, everyone. Very thankful to have the opportunity to speak to you. Bit of background about myself. I grew up in Eastern Canada, born and raised in New Brunswick. Both of my parents worked in the forestry industry for the entirety of their careers. I had the opportunity to work in the industry as a summer student, as a co-op student, and in the early part of my career. So I've been vested literally since the day I was born in the Eastern Canadian forestry industry. I've stepped away in recent years and moved on to some different endeavors, but I'm happy to be here today to talk to you about something that I think has a lot of potential and coming back to Nova Scotia as an entrepreneur in the next generation of the forestry industry. So if you'll at a glance, this is likely to be a new name for most folks in the room, hopefully not something that is terribly too far from the theme here. We are looking at making renewable diesel from woody biomass, and there's a lot of semantics around renewable diesel, biodiesel, those sorts of things, but this truly is a cellulosic or renewable diesel product. One of the things that we're going to be doing is licensing an existing technology. We're not technology developers, and our approach to this venture is as a group of forestry industry professionals who see the opportunity to grow business in Nova Scotia, not to develop technologies. There's others here on the panel that'll speak to you. That has its own life cycle and its own challenges and endeavors, but we feel that there's a need in this space for folks like us or others with similar ideas about the future to step in and try and enable an existing technology. So we've been working with the provider for a number of years, some of us on our team, and of late been very excited about the potential for application in the woody biomass space. We're looking at commercial scale production. I'll talk a bit more about scale in a moment, but I think scale vis-a-vis the prior pulp and paper mill footprint, if you will, vis-a-vis contemporary or fossil fuel-based refinery, not so much. I think scale is going to be very important given all those stakeholder issues, but also in terms of economic viability going forward. High growth in demand for renewable fuels. I'll show you a few statistics. Others have spoken about it a bit today. The pulp and paper industry, which was my alma mater for a number of years, along with my colleagues, we got lost in chasing, a market that was proverbially challenged, if you will. I think that, there will be a paper industry in the future, but it will be less, undoubtedly, and we would like to be focused on a very high growth segment of the economy going forward. Build out of a new industry, to our experience and knowledge. A few folks are doing this around the world, but it is not happening in a huge way today, so there are some challenges with that. Renewal for rural economies of Nova Scotia, and the potential for resource to consumer within a region. Not a lot of industries can you step in and develop a product that can be consumed locally. Some of the key dynamics, we're looking at a 20 million litre per year plant as our initial step. That would have a footprint of 75,000 tons per year, green tons per year. Rural community-based projects, again, if we think about some traditional footprints, you're looking at a much bigger scale, both in terms of the wood resource requirements and also employee basis. Resources all sourced on a local level. We heard a comment earlier about $100 a ton delivered. That traditionally in the industry is between 100 and 150 kilometer radius. We try to be a bit more aggressive than that and would be seeking about a 50 to a 75 kilometer radius. Operations, minimal footprint, high energy efficiency. There was a question from the last group vis-a-vis how do we deal with high electricity prices in developing new technologies. We've purposely avoided technologies that are energy intensive, particularly electricity energy intensive, and ones that have high rates of retention in the inherent energy in the wood. So I think that's very important going forward, that we will indeed transfer the inherent energy in the wood to the products themselves. Have a footprint of about 30 to 35 employees. And this is being driven again by consumer demand for renewables. Again, there was a comment in one of the earlier speakers about no premium for green. That is true in many segments. We believe in this segment, particularly with some regulations that have passed in Canada, the US, states like California, where there is literally little or no supply for emergent demand, and indeed there will be a premium for a period of time. We're not basing our business model on a premium for green, but undoubtedly there will be some early mover benefits there from a premium perspective. Economics, again, we'll be looking to price being driven by world energy markets, and but also being cost competitive with fossil fuel alternatives, which was a comment that was made earlier. This is a busy slide, but just to give you a sense of global distillate demand looking forward for the future. This is from ExxonMobil, but I think is consistent with a lot of the projections that are out there. The key theme here is that diesel fuel consumption worldwide is expected to grow by 85% in the next 25 to 30 years. An astronomical number. Not many market segments that you can look at that you're selling a product into that has that sort of demand associated with it. If you look at that at a Canada-wide level, you're looking at a basis of about 32 billion litres per year. Of course, Canada won't enjoy that sort of growth in demand for its diesel consumption or its diesel needs, but it is still a substantial market. And if you think back to the note I made about a 20 million litre per year footprint, a very modest step into the diesel space. If you look at it on a regional basis, use an approximation of about 10% of the Canadian demand being in Atlantic Canada, or about 3 billion litres per year. 20 million litres per year would be about 0.6% of the market space. So a very large market, a market that's growing. The local levels will benefit from that global demand in terms of price, not necessarily consumption, but the local consumption is more than enough to accommodate what we're intending to do. Good, okay. Just two quick last comments here. Nova Scotia Forestry resource viewed as a strategic asset going forward from an energy basis. Innovate and replace some long-standing supply chains. Interesting statistic, back in 2002, December 2002, the Brent crude energy benchmark price was $29 a barrel. Today it's $109. So that has enabled a lot of new economic models, a lot of new let's say, development opportunities in the energy space. If you look at the traditional value chain, sawmills and pulp and paper mills in particular have been challenged and will be challenged going forward. We see the opportunity to step into that space and to provide some value. Our development timeline will be about 18 months as it looks today. There's some steps involved there that I can speak to separately if some folks would like to chat about it. And then finally, this comment has been used before, but I'll say it again. We don't see forestry as a sunset industry. We really see it as an opportunity to innovate, to grow new business in Nova Scotia. Some things need to change to make that successful for the long term, but today's a great start. Thanks for your time.